Hello everybody, Anna Charles here, coming to you again at 5:30 UK, 12:30 Eastern, I think, for Wine Free Wednesday, right? This is your 15-minute dose. It's a sort of a moment to pause and reflect and to get some practical strategies for drinking less. And my invitation to you is that you elect to make Wednesdays wine-free. Alcohol free, right? We're just going to pick a day in the middle of the week. Now, the thing I teach my clients is that we do not just sort of fight our way, willpower our way through this. There are tools that I teach, and that's what I'm coming to you each week here. We're just giving you things to think about, little tools to use, little things to put into play. Just take one of these and use it and then see what happens. And this is how we make change. So as I have spoken about, so this is actually the fourth week, which is quite amazing, really, how time has gone. And I will start, as I have the others, by just reminding you that my coaching, I believe, is built on four main pillars. Right? I think if we have all of these pillars in place, it creates a really strong foundation from which we can build a new relationship with alcohol. So firstly, mindset. This is all about the way we think. This is about possibility and deciding we can change and just seeing that, right? Using our minds, our really fantastically powerful brains to see the possibility. We then have skills. There are some tactics, there are some skills, there are some things we learn, right? That the more we learn, we're able to make the changes. And this is an area my clients actually love, because when we position this as skills, it feels accessible to make the change. It's not kind of some magic out there. Then there is purpose, as we covered last week. Why are we doing this? Why are we drinking? What are we making the drinking mean? And then today we're going to talk about identity. Now, this is really important. And like purpose, it's one that's often forgotten. And what I want to talk about today is about becoming the person who chooses differently, right? Just fundamentally becoming that different person, because the biggest shift that you will make is not in the number of drinks you drink or not, although of course that is the goal. It's one of the goals that we're going towards, but it is in how you see yourself. When you see yourself differently, you will show up differently. It all stems from this. Now listen, we often think that change stems from actions, and it is true. We do need to take action. If you are going to drink less, you need to put the drink down. You do need to say no. We do need to find other ways to have fun, other ways to deal with our emotions and so on. Yes, yes, yes. And, right? And this is not an and or and. We need to shift our identity. This is how we create real lasting change. If you're one of those people who has tried and failed to change relationship with alcohol, it's kind of like putting a sticking plaster on you. It's because you haven't changed what's happening underneath. I want you to consider these two following statements. I'm just going to show you how this shows up. Let's say you're saying, look, I'm really trying to drink less. I'm really trying to moderate, or I'm really trying maybe to do wine-free Wednesday, right? Now I want you to think about that. What's happening with that, while it sounds outwardly quite good, you're actually reinforcing the version of you who's struggling, who's trying, right? The focus, the emphasis is on the trying, versus I'm someone who chooses differently. Now, that can be true even when maybe 9 times out of 10, you're actually making a decision you don't like. Now, maybe 9 times out of 10 right now, you're saying yes to the wine when you really want to be saying no. But that 10th time rather, right? If you can position that as, look, I'm someone who's choosing differently, and that becomes the refrain, that becomes the identity that we connect to. Because I want you to see that version of you who can do this, who is confident around drinkers without drinking, who knows that they can stop at 1 glass of wine. I was working with a client this week, and I said, how do you feel about stopping after 1 glass? She said, yeah, totally confident, 10 out of 10 can do it. Right? And this is somebody who was drinking a bottle a day when we were first talking. Right? So that confident version of you is within you, and we get to bring that person out through identity work. Let me give you a little personal example. I think it always helps to talk about this. So anybody who's been following my stories and so on, we went to the Monaco Grand Prix this past weekend. My husband and I, we kind of just jumped in the car and we went and had a fab time. Now, the interesting thing was, back in the day, the Monaco Grand Prix for me meant mounds of champagne. I mean, it was just drinking extraordinaire. This one year we went, and honestly, the next day I was zonked out, right? It was just so much booze there. And so it was just part of it. I just didn't even think. It was like, we're going to Monaco, yeah, we're going to drink, right? That was wrapped in the identity. But this time, my identity was very much, I'm just going to have fun. I want to see the cars. And whether I drink or not, that was kind of to one side. And that is not because I was trying really hard. It's not because I was saying this is a really bad thing. It's like, that is just not who I am anymore. So I want you to think how this applies to you. What identity you are showing up as, what identities you have, those that you kind of ascribe lots of value that you believe in about yourself. For instance, are you the type of person who always finishes the bottle? Yeah, that's me. I always finish the bottle. Are you the type of person who, if somebody, let's say you're deciding to go alcohol free and someone says, come on, bought you a nice glass of wine, will you give in? Yeah, I'm the type of person who gives in. I want you to see how you see yourself. And they will have lots of different versions of this. Are you the type of person who, if you feel you're really stressed, you've had a hard day, you just know you're going to have a drink? Even if you're doing wine-free Wednesday, it's like, yeah, it's on the cards, I'm going to drink. That's just who I am. Are you the type of person who, when you're going out having fun, it's like, yeah, I'm going to drink. I know I am, because it will be awful without. So I want you to think about these different types of identities you have and consider something different, right? So I want you to consider, so if anybody's watching, if you want to just plonk in on the screen any of these identities, how you see yourself, you know, we can chat about this. But I really, and if you're watching the replay, put it in the comments after, because this is where it starts. So I want you to see, if you see yourself as somebody who always finishes the bottle, when it comes to the point where we're going to finish the bottle or not, that will be a very difficult thing for you, unless we change how you see yourself there. Now remember, this is a journey. So we're doing this every Wednesday. I'm encouraging you to go alcohol free every Wednesday, but it is a journey. And I know that sounds trite, but it's absolutely the case, that we are becoming someone new. We are growing a new identity. I really want you to think of it in those terms, right? We are just evolving. We're kind of a chrysalis. We're coming into a new butterfly. And this takes intention, not just in the action you take, but in how you choose to see yourself. You can choose to see yourself as someone who no longer struggles with this, even if you're struggling day to day. You can just decide, I know that's who I am really. And I want you to see, if you're thinking in that way, how much more powerfully you're going to act. These are identity moments. These are clues pointing us in the direction we want to go. These are, think of this, these are invitations. We are inviting ourselves to become somebody new. And you will notice everything I'm talking about here is not about saying no. It's not about, you know, the tactics or the tips or the things you should do in the moment. But this is a much deeper, broader, but really, really important piece of work. Because when you do see yourself as somebody different, even if that version of you is not yet showing up in the world, change becomes easier. Change becomes fun and absolutely possible. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to, so actually I didn't tell you right. So your homework this week, start noticing these moments when you think your current identity is kind of on automatic pilot, right? When you're pouring a drink without thinking, like, oh yeah, that's what I do. Any of that kind of language, that's just what I do. That's just who I am. I'm never going to change. Why do I always do this? Anything that speaks to how you see yourself, note them down, start to notice them, and then question them. And you can decide, we're going to start thinking something different. But I want you to think, that's the story running in the background, right? That's the story that is has more power in the moment than whether you say yes or no. So just notice these things, and then we can decide, do I want to be the person who says, yeah, that's me, I always finish the bottle, right? I always finish the bottle. We can start changing that identity, even if today you are still finishing the bottle, right? These two things are different. You do not have to reinforce who you currently are by saying, yeah, that's who I'm always going to be. So if anybody has got any comments, let me know. I'm just looking here to see, I'll just continue otherwise. So yeah, so this was today's dose of Wine Free Wednesday. And again, please do go out into the world and make Wednesday alcohol free. I think that's my challenge to you. It's a fun challenge. Yes, it is fun. And let me know how you get on. Now, if what I'm talking about is resonating, you're thinking, yeah, this is good. This is what I want, right? Because I want to change my identity. I want to do this work. I've just brought out a new, it says kit. It's called the Wine Free Wind Down Kit. I may have mentioned it last week, can't remember. And it's currently 70% off. It's just a new thing. I mean, it's an introductory price. And this is really a toolkit to help you if you're one of those people who has as their identity, you always go to the wine. It's kind of like, that's just how, when I take my shoes off, that's it. Wine is in hand. And then I know I'm relaxing, and I can't imagine doing that without wine. This kit will help you to do that. So I've dropped the link in the show notes there. Otherwise, you know, feel free to DM me if you've got questions of what I'm talking about. If there's a topic you would like me to cover on one of the Wine Free Wednesdays, I'm really happy to do that, right? I will, whatever you give me, I will decide if it's in mindset, skills, purpose or identity, and we'll talk about that. So there we go. That's this week's Wine Free Wednesday, unless anybody's got any comments. And I just need to remember, you do not have to wait for a rock bottom to change. You do not have to decide you need to go sober, that is the only way if that does not resonate for you. You just have to decide that you want to become someone new. Really, that's it. At the end, that's the essence of identity. I just want to be someone new, and then we can map out that plan that will take you there. And it is such fun, and it will happen sooner than you think. Okay, I think that's everything for today. I'm going to post this now, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.